We're also going to be talking about our thoughts on going back to campus amid a pandemic. Hey everyone! So today is Monday, August 31st, and it is
last day of the month.
Yes, and the first day of class. Welcome back to another video. So today we are having dinner.
Oh, it's been...
Josue brought us Costa Vida. We eat other things. It's not just Costa Vida. It just happens to be what we're eating today. And we're also going to be talking about our thoughts on going back to campus amid a pandemic. So we're just going to talk about our thoughts. Today was our first day of class. So we're going to eat and try to do both things at the same time. So first day back to class, and we both are students at the same university. We're at different
levels,
places of our careers, and our schedules look very different. And so I thought it'd be interesting to have both of our thoughts and opinions on what the semester is going to look like, just because we are at different places. And so, saying a lot. So our campus, or our university, we started 1 week earlier than we usually do. So we usually start just after Labor Day, don't we?
Yeah.
And so this year, this fall semester, because of the pandemic, we're all starting 1 week earlier. And it's also in the plans, if we make it, that the semester will end, all classes will go online after Thanksgiving. So the thought there was that students are going to go back home for Thanksgiving for the holidays, and they don't want students to bring back the virus, obviously, if they have to come back to campus. So the expectation is that any classes that are in person currently will be remote once Thanksgiving comes around. So we are a university that has both in-person and online classes. So we have 4 different teaching styles, if you will, for this semester. So the first one's in class or in person, the traditional types of classes. And the second is blended, so you have maybe part of it online and part of it or over Zoom, and then part in person. And then the third is to have
on demand, right?
Yeah, so live first. So
You're
live,
right.
Meaning that you have to be available at the specific class time, and that's when the class happens. So if you have an 8 a.m. class, you have to be logged on to Zoom at 8 a.m. for a live class. And then the fourth one is the on-demand online remote classes, where the classes will be, the lesson for the day will be pre-recorded, I believe, what the professors are doing, and then the class is just readily available for students at their leisure whenever they want to access the class, right? Yeah.
So the guidelines that we had, or one of the guidelines, is that we had to watch a video where they went over just safety measures that we all have to do. They went over styles of classes, like Doreen was saying. What else did they do? So it was like a 13-minute video that you had to watch before you were even allowed to go back to school, kinda. And then they gave you a quiz, and it was super simple. I got one wrong, and then I had to retake it, so I don't know. Yeah,
so that video, it was required to be watched by all students, all faculty, all staff of the university. And like you said, it's just guidelines of what to expect in the fall and what the university hopes the students and faculty and staff will abide by going into the semester, just because it's so up in the air. No one knows what's going to happen, I should say. And so they go over what a classroom is going to look like. And so we do have in-person classes, and they're going to be reduced in size. And so what they've done over the summer is they've gone into classrooms where they have desks that can be moved, and they've removed extra seats so students aren't within the 6 feet. And maybe tables that can't be like separated, they probably have put tape. I haven't gone into classes, but they probably put tape over them so that students don't sit so close together. And then in lecture halls, I believe they've also like crossed off sections.
Like at the library and stuff like that. That's what they've done. So a lot of the guidelines are the same ones given by the CDC as well. So same old, wash your hands, 6 feet apart. If you feel sick, don't go home. They also
Don't go home?
Or go home, don't go to school. They also make it seem like they're gonna be flexible because they understand that at any given moment anyone could just get the virus. So they want you to understand that they're gonna be lenient on a couple of things, but it also has to do with your specific class and your specific professor. And yeah.
Well, yeah, the video is just a general overview.
It's like a general CDC
of what's going on.
thing.
So you watch the video, take the quiz, and then another guideline that they want to implement, or they're implementing, is the state of Utah has a Healthy Together app. I think it's just Utah that started it, right?
Maybe.
I believe it's just Utah that started this Healthy Together app. And so as, again, students and faculty and staff, you have to download the app and do a daily checkup. So it goes through the list of symptoms, and you have to take that checkup every day if you want to access certain features of the school. So if you're going to be, I don't know, purchasing stuff maybe at the student center, or if you want to do ID stuff.
I think you have to show it every single time you're going to walk into a building.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I think that's what they're doing.
See, that part I don't know.
That's what Aaron told me. But I don't mix up stuff.
We'll get into later why I don't know of that. So they're also having us do that app as well. And what else is there?
I'm trying to think. They just have sanitizing stations.
Oh, the other one.
They have like flyers and...
Yeah, the constant reminders throughout the university on windows and doors of what you should be doing, staying 6 feet, wearing your mask. But the other thing is they encourage students to arrive to their class early because they have sanitizing stations. They have sanitizing stations so that you can clean your desk. And so they suggest arrive early if possible, and you wipe down your area.
Like your own
area
spot
where you're going to sit. And so that's another thing, is that they recommend students do that before sitting down at their desks.
Oh, a lot of buildings are closing earlier than normal as well. So you just kind of have to go home, and if you want to study, you have to study at home. A lot of labs are going to be open, but a lot of them are just going to have to be, you have to make an appointment and then you can go in. You can't just walk in. It's not like an open lab anymore.
I don't know what does that mean.
Oh, you don't?
Well, because to me, lab means something else.
Okay, so where we go to school, they have, depending on your major, they just have different labs that they're open to anyone who's currently taking those classes, in case you have questions, in case you need help with homework or whatever. So you could just walk in.
Like help centers.
It's like a help center, but they call them labs here. I didn't know they used to call.
To me, a lab is like a research lab.
It's not going to be as available as it was in the past.
So I think that's the general gist of what our university is implementing going into this fall semester. So now, okay, so as I haven't talked about it too much, but in one of our previous videos, we title it "Field Work for a PhD Biology."
A typical day in the
typical field day in a biology PhD student's,
something
whatever.
Like that.
So I am a graduate student and I do research, and so most of my day consists of being in the lab or in my office. And so some of the differences for me, Honestly, it's not very different for me as a graduate student because I don't really need to take any more classes anymore. I am taking one class. It's a Python analytics class that I just want to stay on top of, like coding and whatnot. And so it's used to be a blended course, so it would be partially over Zoom, partially in person. And we received an email this morning that it would be conducted entirely over Zoom. And so professors are taking measures as things are progressing or as how they see fit, and adjusting their course as needed. I've taken one course in the past, not at this university, but at a community college just for extra credits that I wanted to take back in California. So I have taken one entire course online before. But as far as my other schedule goes, so throughout the summer, I was still on campus. I've been on campus since probably June, late May, every single day. I've been in the field twice a week. Summer, I was going out into the field twice a week, and then I was in the lab 3 times a week. And this, now going into fall, I'm doing the same thing, but now I'm changing the days that I go out into the field just because I have class on Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm going to the field Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I'm in the lab or my office. And so most of my day consists of being inside the same building, and so I don't get to see too much of the action outside of my building, at least this semester, just because I'm not taking any classes that require me to go to another building. And so I will probably only get to experience like the situation within our building and not having to go in other buildings. But because I'm doing research, I have access to the building. And so I've had access to the building all summer, and only students that were actively doing research or needed to be in the building had access to that building. I think most of the buildings over the summer were like that. I think most of them were closed off.
You had to get approval, right?
I already had approval.
From before. They knew that you needed to go in.
Yes.
Okay.
They, as a graduate student, yeah, you get that access if you're
doing me too.
Ongoing research. And so nothing's really changed. I'm not TAing this semester, but that's not for reasons of the pandemic. It's my advisor and I decided it was best for me to concentrate on putting out publication. I mean, I was TAing last semester when we went remote, and we had to conduct office hours over Zoom. I moved offices. I think you also cut this clip off, so they don't know that I moved office. So I used to be in a bigger office that shared.
In a smaller office.
Well, I used to be in a bigger office.
Oh,
I used to be in a bigger office where it could be shared amongst 8 or 9 students. And after I passed my oral exam, I was qualified to move into a write-up room, is what they call it at our university or our department. And it's a smaller office that you share with one other individual typically.
But your personal space is bigger though.
Personal space is bigger.
Yeah, there's more room.
Yeah, so I guess that's the only aspect that has changed. It just so happens to coincide with the pandemic that I got moved to a more personal room, but I do have to coordinate with the other graduate student that's in there.
Oh, really?
We don't have to, but if we want to be in there without a mask, we have to coordinate.
But if you're both in there,
we have to wear a mask.
Have to wear a mask.
So that's, I guess, the only thing that's affecting me, which is fine though, because I think she only needs to be in there when I'm out in the field, so that works out. So
that's nice.
Yeah, so that's how my semester is looking like.
Alrighty. My stuff is not as interesting. I'm still working on my undergrad. So.
In what?
In what? Is that what you said? Oh, in econ, economics. It's fun. Love it. It's great. All about that money. So it's kind of nice, at least I think, for my own personal schedule, because I've never taken online classes ever. And this semester, I'm supposed to be taking like 3 or 4 blended and live courses. But starting last week, I started receiving emails from my professors, and it seems like a lot of them, like Doreen was saying, they just decided to change it to on demand. So they're gonna pre-record the lessons and they're gonna upload them somewhere, and then we can just go in and watch them. And that's just kind of nice for me because I'm also working, and that way I could just work for a little bit and then take a class, keep working and take a class, and it saves me a lot of travel time, so I don't have to go to work, then to school, then back to work, and then back to school, and then home. They might change them because they are changing things constantly, so they might change it back. But as of right now, I don't think I have to go to campus except for one class, which is only once a week. And I was actually talking to Doreen, and I told her that I did want to go to campus just to change up my routine like every once in a while. A lot of my professors are recommending getting in groups so we can study, because it's gonna be online. So a lot of us just tend to fall behind because we procrastinate, and they just want us to stay on top of it. And like I said, they are being flexible, but they're also suggesting that you meet with other people. I'm assuming they're also doing it for the social aspect, so we don't drive ourselves crazy. But so today I actually already got in one study group, and we're just going to be constantly talking. It's for econ, so yeah, that's mostly my week.
So today was our first day, and again, I went out to the field this morning. So the first half of my day, I was out in the field, came back to the labs at around 2, and there was a lot of people. I was not expecting there to be so many students, but there was definitely a lot of students. There's a lot of students everywhere.
A lot of people.
And everyone was wearing masks, as far as I saw. How was your day like today?
Okay, so I got to work, and my class was at 9:30 in the morning. Like I said, this one was supposed to be live, so he told us to get in and to be available today. And I think he wanted the mic on and the camera on. And then he just announced that he was gonna do it on demand, so he was just gonna record the lessons and upload them, and we could just watch them whenever we want. The only thing is that he did say we have homework assigned twice a week on 2 specific days. I think it's Tuesday and Thursday. So just by default, you have to watch the lessons, because if you don't, you're not gonna be able to do the homework. Basically, I don't have classes on Friday. Whoop whoop! 3rd semester in a row.
I guess that's one of the nice things, is that students that do want to work full time and they can work it in with their job can do that if they're taking mostly remote classes. So that's actually really nice for you, because you don't have to be in a hurry trying to drive back and forth like you were previously.
So going forward, it's not going to last, in my opinion. I don't know about Doreen. I feel like people just want to be social and they want to interact with one another. So they are just going to start having their own activities on their own spare time. And I think that's when the virus is going to start spreading. And at some point in the next month, I think they're just going to have to go fully online and everyone stay home. They're still going to have resources on campus, but they're going to be very limited, in my opinion. I don't know what Doreen feels, but...
So obviously the situation is really difficult on everyone. So parents, students, especially faculty who are having to reevaluate or restructure their course, that's super tough. And on just university administrators who had to make these decisions. Our university took quite a while to decide what they were going to do. Most universities were already putting out their decision about fall, and our university in July was still not sure, but they decided on having these 4 different methods that we spoke about. And so I think it's a super tough situation for everyone, obviously, and I think the administrators know that students need that in-person contact because that's what we're used to. That's how we're used to learning, and they need that social aspects with, it's part of the college experience. Everyone needs that. But
College.
I think it will fall apart if not everyone's doing their part, right? This requires everyone to do their part, wearing the mask, staying 6 feet. And obviously when you're at university, part of the experience is to do things with people that you meet, especially new freshmen that are coming in where it's completely new for them. Other universities around the country, I think it was North Carolina at Chapel Hill. That was one of the first universities that had to go remote because of the cases were spiking up. And then Texas A&M and then University of Michigan, I think, had to make a call, and also Notre Dame as well. I think these are some of the universities that have been that have already started or are going to start that have had to make last minute changes just because of what's going on at other universities, or their own university has seen a spike once students return back to campus. I guess we'll see. We're taking it one day at a time, right? I don't know.
Fall 2020. We'll see what happens.
Interesting time to be a student in general. And I just can't imagine what like elementary and middle school and high school, like what that must look like.
2020, baby. Fall 2020. Straight A's. Y'all ready?
So for all of you who may come across this video, made it to this point, and are at university or high school, let us know your thoughts on whether you had to go back or whether you're doing everything remote. Let us know where you go and how you feel. Thoughts for the day.
Good luck on your semester if you're a student.
Yeah.
See ya. Ciao.
Bye, guys.